Kicked out as a teen for false rumors spread by my brother years later. Parents see my success and demand money after they abandon me. I'm a 28-year-old female with a twin brother. And even though we were born on the same day, it always felt like we came from two different worlds. From as far back as I can remember, my parents treated him like he was destined for greatness, while I was just the disappointment, the black sheep of the family. It didn't matter what I did. I could never be enough. My brother always got the best of everything. On our birthdays, he'd get big parties, expensive gifts, and all the attention. Me, I was barely even acknowledged. He could have his friends over any time. But if I asked to bring mine home, my parents would say no, that I needed to focus on studying instead of wasting time. Even as a child, I felt invisible. The only person who ever made me feel loved was my grandmother. She'd sneak me chocolates, slip me a few dollars, and whisper, "Don't let them make you feel small, sweetheart." But as I grew older, that small spark of love wasn't enough to balance the constant humiliation. My parents mocked my grades. They called my hobbies useless. They didn't even let me play sports, said it was a waste of time. No matter how hard I tried, I could never earn their approval. Then, in high school, things went from unfair to unbearable. When I was 15, I got grounded for something ridiculous, just for having Snapchat on my phone. I wasn't sneaking out, I wasn't doing anything bad. I just wanted to talk to my friends like a normal teenager. But my parents lost it. They screamed, threw my things around the room, and even took my door off the hinges. They told me I didn't deserve privacy. And my brother, he stood there, watching, and smiling. That's when things took a darker turn. He realized that our parents would believe anything he said, as long as it made me look bad. If something went missing, he'd blame me. If he broke something, I'd get punished for it. At school, he started spreading rumors about me, saying I was mean, manipulative, even violent. And people believed him. He was jealous because I was social, outgoing, and he wasn't. So he decided to destroy me. Then came our 14th birthday, the day that changed everything. None of his friends showed up to his party. I didn't know why. Maybe they were busy, maybe they just didn't care. But he took it personally. Meanwhile, my friends took me out for ice cream, and I had an amazing day. And that's when something inside him snapped. The next week, he started spreading the most disgusting lies imaginable. He told people I hit him, that I bullied him, that I was violent at home. And to make his story believable, he started hurting himself. He'd punch himself in the eye, bruise his arms, then go to school the next day showing off his injuries. He'd tell teachers I attacked him. He even cried in front of classmates. Everyone believed him. Teachers, friends, even my best friend started avoiding me. People whispered when I walked down the hallway. The rumors spread like poison. I felt my entire world crumble, and I had no one to turn to. Finally, one day, I was called to the principal's office. When I walked in, my parents were sitting there, and my brother was beside them. The principal looked me straight in the eyes and asked, "Did you hurt your brother?" I froze. I turned to look at my twin, hoping he'd finally tell the truth. But he didn't. He looked right at me, and lied. He said, "Yes, she hits me when no one's around." My heart stopped. My mom burst into tears. My dad wrapped his arm around my brother, comforting him like he was some kind of hero. The principal scolded me, saying bullying and violence wouldn't be tolerated. I begged him to believe me, told him it was all a lie. But it didn't matter. They suspended me for 10 days. When we got home, I thought maybe once they calmed down, my parents would listen. But instead, my dad started packing my things. I remember standing there, shaking, asking him what he was doing. He didn't even look at me. He just said, "You're not living in this house anymore. I won't have a bully under my roof." I fell to my knees, begging. I looked at my brother, crying, "Please, tell them the truth." He didn't even blink. He just stood there, cold and silent. My dad threw my suitcase by the door. "Your grandmother can pick you up. You're done here." That was it. I was kicked out of my own home. A few hours later, my grandmother arrived. She saw me crying, holding my suitcase, and her eyes filled with rage. She turned to my parents and said, If you ever come near her again, I'll have you arrested. That night, I went home with her. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just cried. It felt like my whole world had been ripped away. But at least I had her. At least I wasn't completely alone. The 10 days of suspension ended, but going back to school felt like walking straight into a storm. When I entered the hallway, every whisper, every sideways glance, was a reminder of the lies my brother had spread. People avoided me, even the ones I'd once called friends. He, on the other hand, walked around smiling, surrounded by a new group of friends who believed his story. He ignored me completely, like I didn't exist. I tried to explain to people what had really happened, but no one wanted to hear it. I had become the outcast, the liar, the bully. Every single day was torture. I ate lunch alone, walked home alone, and cried quietly every night when no one could see. My parents never called me, not even once. It was like I had died to them. The only person who still cared was my grandmother. She'd remind me every day, "This isn't your fault, sweetheart. Someday, life will be kind to you again." I clung to her words, because they were the only thing that kept me going. Finally, I finished high school, with good grades, somehow. And when I got accepted to college, it felt like I could finally breathe again. College was my escape. A fresh start. No rumors. No lies. No one comparing me to my brother. For the first time, I felt free. I made new friends, kind people who actually cared about me. No one judged me for my past. I laughed again. I lived again. During my college years, I discovered something new, a passion for writing. At first, I did it just to earn a little extra money. I joined some freelancing sites and started writing blog posts for small clients. But soon, it became more than just a side job. It became my identity. Every word I wrote felt like a step toward rebuilding my life. People loved my work. Clients kept coming back. And slowly, I realized, maybe I really was good at this. By the time I graduated, I had a full portfolio and steady clients. Instead of joining a company, I decided to work for myself. I became a full-time freelance content writer. It wasn't easy, long nights, tight deadlines, sleepless weekends. But for the first time in my life, I was proud of myself. I didn't owe my success to anyone. Not my parents. Not my brother. Just me, and my hard work. My business grew. My confidence grew. And so did my freedom. I started traveling, working remotely, exploring new places, meeting amazing people. Becoming a digital nomad healed me in ways therapy never could. Every sunrise in a new city felt like a reminder. I survived. Through all of it, my grandmother remained my anchor. Even though I had moved out, I visited her every weekend. We shared meals, talked about everything, and laughed about silly things. She'd tell me stories from her youth, and I'd tell her about my clients, my travels, and my dreams. She was proud of me. I could see it in her eyes every time I walked through her door. She'd smile and say, "You did it, sweetheart. You proved them wrong." Years passed, and I built a life I could finally be proud of. Then, one day, everything changed again. But this time, it wasn't tragedy. It was recognition. I had just finished one of the biggest projects of my career. A major global brand had hired me to write their blog content. When the project ended, they left me glowing reviews online. I shared those reviews on my social media, proud of how far I had come. The post exploded. Clients, other writers, even strangers congratulated me. Soon, I got invited back to my college to give a seminar about content writing. At first, I was nervous. I'd never spoken in front of a crowd. But when I stood there, looking at those eager young faces, I felt something inside me heal. I told them my story, not about the pain, but about the strength that came after. When the crowd applauded, I realized I'd finally found my voice again. A few weeks later, a local TV channel invited me to share my story. I spoke about hard work, resilience, and how a simple passion for writing changed my life. When the interview aired, I felt proud and happy that my grandmother got to watch it live. But I didn't know that the interview would reach someone else, too. Someone I hadn't heard from in years. My parents. A few days after my TV interview aired, I was working late on a new project, my phone on silent. When I finally checked it that night, my heart skipped a beat. 6 missed calls, all from Mom. For a second, I froze. It had been years since I'd last heard her voice. I thought maybe something terrible had happened. But deep down, a strange feeling whispered, "No, this isn't worry. This is something else." Still, curiosity got the better of me. I called her back. She picked up on the first ring. Her tone was soft, almost rehearsed. "Oh, sweetheart, we're so proud of you," she said. "We saw your TV interview. You've become so successful." Before I could even reply, I heard my father in the background. He grabbed the phone, cheerful, acting like everything was normal. "Emma, tell me, how's life? How much are you earning these days?" That last question hit me like a slap. I hesitated, then said, "I'm doing fine, Dad. Why do you ask?" He chuckled. "Well, we're family, right? You shouldn't hide these things from us." Then Mom sighed dramatically. "Emma, your father and I are both retired now. The house is falling apart, and we've been thinking about renovations. But we just don't have the money." And just like that, it became clear. This wasn't a call from loving parents. It was a call from two people who suddenly remembered I existed, because they wanted something. Mom continued softly, "Your success has given us hope. Maybe you could help us out? Just a little." Dad added, "After all, we're family. You wouldn't hesitate to share with your parents, would you?" I felt my stomach twist in anger. Family. These were the same people who threw me out like garbage. The same people who never called, never wrote, never cared. I took a deep breath and said, "Are you joking? You ignored me for years, and now you expect me to pay for your house." Mom's voice instantly changed. Gone was the sweet tone. Now it was sharp, cold. "Don't talk to us like that. You owe us. We raised you." I laughed bitterly. "You didn't raise me. Grandma did." There was silence. And then, an idea hit me. If they wanted money so badly, I'd make them earn it. So I said calmly, "Fine. I'll help you, but only on one condition." Dad asked cautiously, "What condition?" I said, "You tell everyone the truth. You admit, in front of our family and friends, that my brother lied about me. That you believed him. That you destroyed my life because of his lies." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Mom snapped, "That's unnecessary. Why drag the whole family into this?" But I didn't back down. "This isn't negotiable," I said. "If you want my help, you admit what you did. Publicly." Dad raised his voice. "I'm your father. It's your duty to help your parents." I said quietly, "No. My duty was to survive. And I did, without you." They hung up. Just like that. But I knew they'd call again. They always want something. And I was right. A few days later, my brother sent me a message. His words made my blood boil. "Hey sis," he wrote. "It's been a long time since I saw you, and honestly, every day without you has been great. Mom and Dad told me about your little ultimatum. They'll never do it. They love me, not you. Yeah, I lied about you 15 years ago. So what? Move on. You're still unmarried, still childless. At least try to be a better daughter. Pay for the house. Do the right thing." I stared at the screen in disbelief. The arrogance. The cruelty. After everything he'd done, he still wanted to humiliate me. But this time, I wasn't that scared little girl anymore. That message, that confession, gave me the power I'd never had before. I opened my laptop. And I started writing. Not an article. Not a story. An email. One that would expose every single truth my family tried to bury. I wrote about the favoritism, the abuse, the lies, how they kicked me out when I was still a child, and how my brother ruined my reputation. Then at the end, I attached the screenshot, his message, where he admitted everything. I sent that email to every relative in our family. And then, I waited. Update 1. It's been a whirlwind of a week since I sent that email. And honestly, I didn't expect things to explode this fast. When I first hit send, I was shaking. But now, I feel free. The response from everyone has been overwhelming. Cousins, uncles, aunts, people I hadn't heard from in years, started reaching out. Most of them were shocked. They had no idea what my parents had done, or how my brother had ruined my life. Some apologized for believing the lies. Others told me they were proud that I finally spoke up. For the first time ever, I felt seen. But of course, not everyone took it well. My parents started calling me nonstop again. When I didn't answer, they left angry voicemails. My mom's voice trembled with rage, saying I had embarrassed the family. My dad shouted that I had crossed the line. And then, my brother texted me again. "Hey sis," he wrote. "Nice move. But you really think anyone cares? Mom and Dad will never admit what happened. They'll never turn on me. You're pathetic. Stop holding grudges and grow up." Reading that message felt like a knife twisting in my chest. He admitted the truth, and still mocked me for it. Then came the part that truly broke me. He said, "You're unmarried, childless, alone. Why not just do something useful for once and help Mom and Dad?" That line hit harder than I expected, because it reminded me of how they used to talk to me, as if my worth depended on what I could give them. But this time, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't break. Instead, I opened my laptop again, and I wrote one final email, not to him, but to everyone. In that message, I told them everything. How my brother used to fake his injuries. How my parents threw me out like trash. How my grandmother was the only person who believed me. I attached his text message too, the one where he flat out confessed that he lied about me all those years ago. Then I hit send. And this time, I didn't feel scared. I felt powerful. Now, I'm just waiting to see what happens when the truth can't be hidden anymore. I know chaos is coming, and I'll be ready for it. Update 2. It's been a month since my last update, and trust me, the chaos that followed was worse than I could have ever imagined. The moment my family got that email, all hell broke loose. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Missed calls, voicemails, messages filled with rage and guilt-tripping. My parents were furious. They accused me of destroying the family's image, of airing private matters, and turning everyone against them. But here's the truth. I didn't destroy the family. They did. All I did was show everyone the reality they tried to hide. Soon, I started getting messages from relatives, people who had never taken my side before. They said things like, "I had no idea it was that bad," and "I'm so sorry for not believing you sooner." Some even said they confronted my parents. And apparently, it didn't go well. My dad tried to defend himself, saying I was exaggerating, that I was emotional. But when my relatives brought up the screenshot, my brother's own message where he admitted to lying, they had nothing left to say. That's when the messages turned ugly. My brother began spamming my phone, calling me names, sending threats, telling me I'd regret embarrassing him. He said I was ruining his life, when in reality, I was just telling the truth. For a few days, I ignored everything. But then, the tone of the messages got darker, more aggressive, more personal. That's when I decided, enough was enough. I reached out to a lawyer. I showed her every message, every screenshot, every voicemail. And within a week, she drafted and sent them a cease and desist notice. The letter warned them clearly. If they contacted me again, in any way, I'd press charges. That must have scared them, because since then, silence. No calls. No texts. No guilt-tripping. For the first time in years, my phone is quiet. And peace, real peace, finally feels possible. My grandmother told me I did the right thing. She said, "They tried to silence you, but you found your voice, sweetheart. I'm proud of you." She's the only person I'll ever call family. And honestly, she's the only one I need. It's been 2 months since my last update, and for the first time in my life, things finally feel peaceful. No more hateful messages. No more manipulation. No more pretending that I owe them anything. My lawyer's letter worked. They've stopped contacting me completely. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. Professionally, life has been incredible. My content writing business is growing faster than I ever dreamed. I've been invited to more seminars, podcasts, and interviews. Each one a reminder that I built this life with my own hands. Sometimes, I think back to that scared little girl who was thrown out of her home. And I wish I could tell her, hold on. One day, you'll make it. You'll be free. I'm still very close to my grandmother. She's getting older now. So I took a small break from work just to spend more time with her. We cook together. We talk about everything. Sometimes about the past. Sometimes about flowers in her garden. She's been into gardening lately. And honestly, it's become our favorite thing to do together. We'll sit outside on her porch, surrounded by all the colors and smells of her plants. And for the first time, the silence doesn't hurt anymore. It feels peaceful. There are still moments when the memories come back. The pain, the betrayal, the loneliness. But now, instead of breaking me, they remind me how strong I've become. I've also started therapy. Not because I'm broken, but because I want to keep healing. To finally let go of every scar my family left behind. This journey hasn't been easy. But it's mine. Every step, every tear, every victory, it all led me here. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that family isn't always blood. Sometimes, it's the people who stand by you when everyone else walks away. My grandmother once told me, "You turned your pain into power." And now, every time I look at how far I've come, I know she was right. This will be my last update, for now, because finally, after years of pain and chaos, I found something I never thought I would.